Hi, I'm Clark Neal.
And I'm Susie Neal. Together, we're Unicoi Preserves.
Today, we're going to show you how to make delicious lemon squares with amazing ingredients from our local Ingles.
Let's get started, Clark.
All right, so this is a childhood favorite recipe of mine that my mom used to make for me growing up, and it's really simple. She used to get me to help do this part when I was too little to actually work in the kitchen and operate the oven.
You're never too young to help your mom in the kitchen.
That's true.
So let's get those kids in the kitchen and get them cooking. We're starting with some Laura Lynn all-purpose flour, some powdered sugar. That was probably your favorite part as a kiddo, huh?
Yeah, so this is going to be making a shortbread crust. So what I'm doing is just stirring the sugar and the flour together before we put the butter in there to get that incorporated well. All right, Susie.
Speaking of butter, this is unsalted butter. We've got it at room temperature. It's nice and soft. So Clark, you don't have to use your big muscles to break that down.
This butter is really soft. So basically we're cutting the butter into the flour mixture just to incorporate it and kind of encapsulate the flour and the butter. That's going to create little layers in the crust when it bakes.
I love simple recipes like this. Just 3 ingredients in the crust.
Yeah. So just going to work this together until the butter is about pea size. Doesn't have to be exact, because then we're going to use God's own hands to form it into the crust, into the pan.
Now you mentioned you used to make this with your mom when you were a little kid. Where did this recipe come from? Where did your mom come up with this?
Well, she actually got this recipe. I was in the Cub Scouts growing up, and my mom was a den mother for our pack. And she got this recipe from another den mother lady that was a friend of hers named Jolinda Bean. And then Mom adopted it, and she made this tons growing up. This was one of our family favorite recipes growing up. So this is looking good.
Now I have sprayed a ceramic baking dish with non-stick spray. The one thing I've noticed over the years of making this recipe is that if you use metal with lemon, sometimes the lemon and the metal can interact together. So use a glass or ceramic dish when you make this, or any lemon dessert, really.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get all that goodness out of the bowl.
I'll put that off to the side for you.
Then,
that last little
this
bit
was
in
the
there.
part I loved doing as a kid.
Thank you.
You get in here with your hands, and you're just gonna press this out lightly into all 4 corners and evenly, and pat it down. Then we're going to blind bake or pre-bake this crust.
Some people call that par bake.
Par bake.
I'm just playing with you. But that looks really nice. The consistency is nice. It's going to make a tender crust, and there's just a small amount of powdered sugar in that. But to get the quantities of the recipe, all the ingredients, if you visit the website ingles-markets.com, you'll have the whole recipe there with how long we bake it and all the different ingredients and a shopping list.
Yeah, you can pull it up on your phone at the store and get all the ingredients you need and add it to your shopping cart. All right, we're going to pop this in the oven. We're going to come back and show you how to make the filling when we come back. Be right back. Okay, while that crust is in the oven, we happen to have one that's already baked. We're going to show you how to make the filling, top it, and then we'll bake it off and finish the dish. Starting with a lemon. Always use fresh lemons for this. You can use concentrate lemon juice and other ingredients, but this just tastes so much better.
I found out the hard way. I tried to be lazy one day and I made it with the bottled lemon juice. It wasn't as good, so don't make my mistake.
This is one step that we've changed from my mom's original recipe. We zest the fresh lemon first because it adds all those essential oils that are in the lemon zest. And we're using a microplane. We're just going to take the lemon zest off the outside. And if you don't know, the zest is just the colored part of the rind. You don't want the white part that's underneath. That is bitter. So this is where all the essential oils and all that fragrance is. If you could smell it right now, you'd know exactly what I was talking about.
It sure does smell good, Clark.
All right, so cut this lemon in half.
Okay.
And sometimes you can get away. This lemon's nice and soft. I rolled it on the countertop first.
You're just strong. Come on now. If it was me, I'd have to use the lemon reamer. Absolutely. Look at that. Look at all the juice you got out of that.
So now we only need 3 tablespoons of this. Try not to get the lemon seeds.
While he's doing that, I've got 2 eggs that are room temperature. Room temperature eggs when you're baking is the way to go because it's going to make your other ingredients incorporate much faster. So in addition to that, we've got some granulated sugar. We'll put that in.
And that granulated sugar, we got a pinch of salt and
pot
some
stir.
baking powder.
Baking powder. So baking powder, a little bit of salt. Now, baking powder hint, pick up your baking powder container. If you don't bake very often, that stuff expires and your baked goods are not going to come out as good. So check the bottom of the container for the expiration date. And if you need to replace it, head to Ingles and pick up some fresh. You'll be so glad you did.
All right, so we're just going to whisk this to incorporate it well and add a little volume to it. This is going to go right on top of that crust, and it's going to go back in the oven, and it's going to cook until the top is nice and golden brown.
Oh, it smells so good, Clark. Your mom would be so proud of you making this.
Yeah.
And putting that little zest in, she would absolutely love it.
Hope she'd like my addition. I think she
I
would.
think she would.
All right, that looks good. I'm going to switch from the whisk
Okay, here's a
to
spatula.
a spatula. We're going to top this.
Oh, that's beautiful. This is such a lovely dessert if you're having a seafood night, a little bit of lemon to cleanse your palate afterwards. And it's not too sweet, y'all. It is just right. That looks pretty good, Clark.
Okay, so that's going to go back in the oven and cook until that custard sets and it gets golden brown. We'll come right back and show you how we finish off the dish.
Oh, Clark, that looks wonderful.
Yeah, now another tip, we dust this with powdered sugar to finish it off. If you do it while it's hot, the powdered sugar is just going to melt right into the dessert. Let it cool completely and then dust it with powdered sugar. Susie, you want to do the honors?
You know I do. I love the powdered sugar part.
Make it snow. Make it snow.
Woo! That is beautiful. I love lemon, powdered sugar. That shortbread cookie crust is going to be so good. Now, this is cooled completely because you don't want to cut into it while it's still warm.
That's right. So you can cut these into whatever size you'd like. I usually try and cut it into 16, just because that's the way Mom did it. But you can make them big or small.
But they are a just right bite. All with pantry ingredients, all from Ingles.
Yep. Boy, my inner child is just smiling.
That little Cub Scout Clark Neal Jr.
All right.
All right, plate them up, Sweet Pea. Look at that. That just looks delicious. One for you and one for me. I like the
Maybe
corner.
2 for me.
Nobody's counting, right?
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thanks for cooking along with us as we prepared lemon squares.
I love this recipe and I hope you do too.
Don't forget to check out the rest of the website where you can find so many more delicious recipe videos.
We'll see you there.